Hey everyone, welcome back. In this ISTQB Foundation exam question and answer series, I'll be discussing 5 sample exam questions, and subsequently in further videos I'll be discussing more 5 exam questions. Now you will see these sample exams are available here, so I have downloaded one of the sample exams and we'll be discussing these sample questions. Your ISTQB Foundation exam will be kind of a similar complexity level, could be little more or less, but once you go through the course, the syllabus and the videos that I have posted, you should be very well prepared to answer any of these ISTQB Foundation questions. Now I'll be explaining some of the key concepts and elimination strategy that you can take if you are not sure on the options, right? So let's go with the first question of this sample exam question. So the first question says, which of the following statements describe a valid test objective, right? So now first thing you have to do is read the question properly. Whenever you are attempting for the exam, read the question properly and do not try to spend too much time on one particular question if you're not sure. Okay, that's just a tip. If you're not absolutely sure and you cannot do elimination strategy, you are doubtful on all 4 options, do not spend too much time. Move on to the next one. You come back to that particular question later. Okay, because then you will save time. You will attempt, say for example, you have already attempted 25 out of 40. You are, for the questions that you are aware, then you know that you are just left with 14 or 16 that you can attempt spend more time on, right? And if you know the answer, you can quickly go ahead within 30 seconds you can figure out that the correct answer, right? So which of the following statements describe a valid test objective? Now here you will see the test objective, right? So the valid one. So first point says to prove that there are no unfixed defect in the system under test, right? Is this a valid test objective? No unfixed defect in the system under test. That's not a valid test objective. Why? Because the test objective is not to prove that there are no unfixed defect. There could be defect and still you or the team or the stakeholders can say we will go ahead with accepting this particular risk, that these are the defects, these are minor ones, or we accept these and we release the product, right? So that's the invalid answer. The first one is out. The second one, to prove that there will be no failures after the implementation of the system into production, right? That's again incorrect. Why? Because testing objective is not to prove that your system is foolproof, it's not going to fail, right? The objective of testing is not to prove that there won't be any failure in production. So the second option is also out. The third one says to reduce the risk level of the test object and to build confidence in the quality level, right? So as you can see here, to reduce, right, to reduce the risk level. Yes, testing objective is, one of the objective is to reduce the risk level and build confidence. Yes, that's also the objective in the quality level of the application that you are testing. So C looks very clearly that this is one of the test objectives. So if you go ahead with the fourth one, to verify that there are no untested combinations of input. Again, no untested. So exhaustive testing is not possible. That's one of the principle. So this is contradicting that. Testing objective is not to ensure that everything is tested, right? So this is also out. So the correct answer for this one, the question one, is C, which is to reduce the risk level of the test object and build confidence in the quality level, right? So that's how you are going to basically go ahead and attempt the question. So read every point in there, quickly eradicate the points that you straight away know, and then say for example last 2 you are left with, right? Then it becomes easier. So if you know that these 2 are absolutely no and you are confused in 2, then it becomes easier to eliminate one of 2, right? So that's how you are going to use the strategy. Now coming to the second question, which of the following options shows an example of test activities that contribute to success? Okay, so example of test activities that contribute to success. Now here, first one says having testers involved during various software development lifecycle activities will help to detect defects in work products, right? Looks very, very clear clear and obvious and correct statement almost, right? So involving testers in SDLC activities, various SDLC activities is what testing or the team should do, right? So obviously it will help detect defects in work products if the testers are involved in every phase of SDLC. Let's see the other points. This looks correct, but let's see the other points. So we eliminate that. Yes, all others are incorrect. Testers try not to disturb the developers while coding. Obviously, straight no. Okay. Testers collaborating with end users help to improve quality of defect report. Now this is a little confusing. Now if you read this, testers collaborating with end users is fine. Okay. It could be, business stakeholders. When we say end users, it could be business stakeholders. So collaboration could be possible to improve quality of defect report. That contradicts, right? Collaboration is not to improve the quality of defect report. So this is also out. Certified testers will design much better test case than non-certified testers. Absolutely baseless statement, right? So this is also out. So for this one, A is the correct answer, which we initially or in first instance itself, we figured out that yes, involving testers in various SDLC phases will help detect defects in work product. Okay, so these are two questions. Now moving to the third one. You have been assigned as a tester to a team producing a new system incrementally. Okay, they are following incremental development practice. You are part of that particular team. You have noticed that no changes have been made to the existing regression test cases for several iterations, and no new regression defects were identified. Your manager is happy, but you are not. Which testing principle explains your skepticism? All right. So now the system is being built incrementally, and there have been couple of iterations. That's what they're saying. And the existing regression suite, the test cases that you already are running, is not finding any new defects after a couple of iterations. Manager will be happy, right? I mean, there are no defects. That's absolutely fine. But if your existing regression suite is not finding new issues or is not finding defects, then there might be something wrong with the regression suite itself, right? So what could be one of the reasons here? Now these are the testing principles. If you see 7 testing principles. Now which principle, because of which principle this could happen? This is what the question is, right? So exhaustive testing is impossible. Let's go from the down here. Exhaustive testing is impossible. That means you cannot test each and every possible combination. So here that's not the case, right? Here it's more of same test cases being executed several times, not finding defects. Defects cluster together. So if there is a defect, this principle says if there is a module wherein you get a defect, there is a possibility that there might be more number of defects in that particular module because the defects cluster together. Or if a particular module has couple of defects, then there is possibility that the other defects could be there as well, right? So that is also out. This is not what this testing principle is. Absence of errors fallacy. So that is basically the principle which says testing shows the presence of defect but not confirms that the software is defect free, right? So that's what the principle is, absence of error fallacy. The first one, tests wear out, right? Now here if you see same test cases being executed in several iterations but not able to find new defects, obviously first one is very clearly says that tests can wear out, because once tests wear out, that means they are not able to function properly or they are not able to find new defects. And here it's same thing, that you are a skeptic because you are not able to find the defects with same regression test cases that are executed several times. So the answer is A, which is tests wear out. And straight away you can see, if you would have seen basically the first option, then we know that yes, this is more close to test wear out, and absolutely we can go ahead and mark A as an answer. Okay, rest all is eliminated because they are absolutely different from what this statement says. Moving to the fourth question. So you work in a team that develops a mobile application for food ordering. In the current iteration, the team decided to implement the payment functionality. Okay, which of the following activities is part of test analysis, right? So now if you have already read the syllabus and gone through the course, now we are going to check which activity out of these 4 is part of the test analysis. Okay, so as part of test analysis, what needs to be done? If one statement matches that, then that's the answer. So first one says, estimating that testing the integration with the payment service will take 8%. This is more of a estimation. This is not analysis. Okay. So A is out. Then deciding that the team should test if it is possible to properly share payment between many users. Okay. So this is more of a deciding that the team should test. This is more of looks very close to analysis. Okay. Let's read other options. Using boundary value analysis to derive the test data for test cases to check a correct payment processing for the minimum allowed amount to be paid. Okay. Now this is using BVA, boundary value analysis. So this is not analysis. This is more of a design. So you are using the BVA to derive test data for the test cases. So this is more of a test design statement when you are applying the test design technique. Okay. So next one, analyzing the discrepancy between actual and expected. Okay. So again, this is, if you see here, after executing a test case, this is execution. This is part of the execution, test execution. This is more of a test design, third option. First one is more of estimation. So correct answer is deciding that the team should test if it is possible to properly share payment between many users, right? So this is more of a test analysis. So the correct answer for fourth is B, right? Now moving to the fifth question, which of the following factors have a significant influence on test approach? Okay, so significant influence, which test approach you are going to take, which factors will be having that significant influence? So the first point is SDLC. Now these questions could be little tricky, so you have to read all these options and then make sure you eliminate which is completely incorrect, and I'll show you how you can do that. So the SDLC, software development lifecycle, that you are choosing drives the test approach, right? If you are choosing Agile, if you are choosing Waterfall, if you are choosing V model, obviously that will have significant influence on the test approach that you are going to take. So first one done. This will have a significant influence. Then the number of defects detected in previous projects. Now that doesn't mean that you are going to change your test approach based on the number of defects you have detected in the previous projects, right? That's absolutely incorrect, because both are separate entities, right? Number of defects detected is not going to influence your test approach. So this is out. Okay. Now the identified product risks. Okay. Obviously, so product risk, if you are testing a high risk or there are a lot of product risks, it's a mission critical or a life critical software application, then you are going to test it in you will follow a different approach. So yes, product risk, the identified product risk will have significant influence on the test approach. So 3 looks correct. Okay. Then fourth, new regulatory requirement forcing formal white box testing. Now here as well, regulatory requirements, right? So if there are regulatory requirements that you have to test all of these combinations, you have to ensure that you certify with this. Obviously your test approach is going to change based on that, right? Or have a significant influence. So regulatory requirement will also have a significant influence on the test approach. So this is also correct. So fourth is correct. Now the last one is test environment setup, right? So let's say second one, right? So second, we know that this is not correct. Okay. This is not correct. So we know that A is straight away out. Okay. The number of defects detected in previous project. So A is out. Now we are left with, so basically A is out and C is also out. You see, there is second in here as well. So even if you know one answer that you are sure that is correct, okay, or this option is out in this particular case, that eliminates 2 options here. A and C are out. Okay. Now you are left with just B and D, and that's what you have to decide, right? So B has 1, 3 and 4. So SDLC, product risk and regulatory requirement. We know that all 3 are going to have significant influence, right? The D is having 5th, which is test environment setup. Test environment setup is not going to have a significant influence in the approach that you are going to take for testing. So 5th is also out. That means D option is also out. The correct answer is B, which is 1, 3 and 4 have significant influence. So SDLC, identified product risk and regulatory requirement, right? So that's how you eliminate these sort of questions. Initially, they might look little trickier, but then if you get just one option that you know that is absolutely incorrect, that will eliminate almost two options there, and you'll be left with two. Even if it eliminates one, you are very close to. Even if you're guessing, you are guessing in less number of options. So the chances of getting your guess correct is still better and fine, right? So that's about these 5 questions. In the next video, I'll cover another 5 questions for ISTQB Foundation level exam. I hope this was helpful. Thank you. See you in the next lecture.